Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Lais here from abundantchicks.com. I am about to launch these little mini video series on how to create and launch your own podcast for free with the platform that I really love, which is Spotify for podcasters. It used to be called Anchor. They recently changed their name. I love the platform because it's so easy and intuitive to use. It's absolutely free. And with one button, it goes to all the different podcasting platforms out there. So it goes to Spotify, to Apple Podcasts, and to all the other major ones. So this series will be many different little parts, so you don't get overwhelmed when you create your own podcast. You can dedicate a bit of time each day or each week, depending on how quick you want to launch your podcast. But ideally, it should be done, or it could be done within a few days, within a week, if you take it seriously and you really dedicate a little bit of time. But the main thing is really to get started and to not procrastinate any longer. So let's start here with my little slide deck. So this is for you if you're ready to share your unique voice, your message with the world. Maybe you want to join all the millions of people around the world who are already using the podcasting platforms to entertain, to educate their audiences, to inspire their audiences. Maybe you've been listening to different podcasts and you already know more or less, how it works. So for sure, you're here to create an impact if you're listening to this with your business, with your message, with whatever it is you want to share with your audience. And maybe, like me, you've been somewhat disillusioned by social media, by the Facebook, the Instagram, the TikToks, and you just are looking for a different way to reach a new audience or even to nurture your old one. So in my case, I really loved diving into podcasting because it's a very different medium than, social media. And so in the long run, I just think it's a beautiful way of not be too focused on the social media and the algorithms, but also to build something that is more sustainable. And yes, so I love podcasting for that reason. And obviously, you're ready to start a podcast. You want to take it seriously. You might already have a few ideas going of what it is you could share. But in any case, today will be all about brainstorming that. And yes, you're looking for an easy and free platform to start. You don't want to keep investing tons of money in microphones and platforms and hosting services. So what I've got for you here, it's really everything is for free, including the microphone. You can use the one that came with your laptop. Like I'm going to show it here in the camera. Just like a very simple one that I always use to record my own podcast. It's very simple. Right now, I also have a Samsung Go mic. It's travel size. It's really a tiny little microphone, but it's amazing quality. The sound that you hear now comes from that, but you don't even need that. And if you do, you can Google Samsung Go mic, and it's really affordable. It's below $80, $70. But yes, as I said, you don't need to invest at all. You can just use what you already have, the little headset that came with your laptop. But yes, let me just share who I am. So you're wondering that why am I listening to her? So my name is Lais. I am half Brazilian, half German. I have a corporate background and I was so disillusioned by everything corporate that in 2012, after a long transformative year where I was living in Thailand and studying all things healing and space clearing, I decided to open my own business in 2012. And since then, I've been a psychic healer. I do healing courses worldwide. I'm an intuitive business coach. So as of last year, I'm helping other female soulpreneurs, the coaches, the healers, the heart-centered female business owners to grow and scale their business. Obviously, I'm multi-passionate and creative, so I have 2 books out. I love, 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 love writing, be it poetry, be it a spiritual self-help book. That's the one you see on the right, Universe in You, 11 Steps to Co-Create the Life You Desire. And the other one is a poetry book called When a Wild Woman Rises. I'm also a digital nomad. I really love living in all the beautiful places. So this picture right here, that's me in an island off Bali. I quite forgot the name right now, but it was beautiful. So I've lived in Portugal, all over Europe, in Sweden, in France, in Switzerland, Germany, UK, Azerbaijan, Italy, Bali, Thailand, Brazil, obviously, even Manhattan when I was a baby, and many more countries that I visited. So for me, it's really important to be location independent, and podcasting really goes well with that because you can podcast from anywhere, right? You just take your little mic or your headset and you can go and create an impact wherever you are. So you don't need, when you watch those podcasting shows where they have all these huge setups with huge microphones, which looks beautiful on the pictures, but you don't need all of that. You can, of course, but you don't have to. So, but just to speak about why I'm doing this podcasting course, I recently, at the beginning of this year, I launched my own podcast called Female Soulpreneurs Growing Their Business. You can see it here on the left, the cover art that I created myself. Yeah, so it's only a few months old, and yet I recently saw it's ranking globally at the top 5%. You can see that down here. So I was just so happy to hear that because I've put so much love and energy into this podcast. It's a podcast where I have solo casts, so solo episodes where I give tips about growing a business or around the energy, the vibration that we need to be in to manifest a good business. And I also interview guest experts on all sorts of different topics. And I think so far I have 20 episodes up. You can find it everywhere on the big platforms like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, of course, and Google Podcasts, and so on. So just type in Female Soulpreneurs Growing Their Business, and you will find it there. And so the reason why I'm doing this, it's because I'm so in love with podcasting that I am creating my second one. And my second one will be only about space clearing. So me and my mom, we both studied space clearing in Thailand. And it was this huge, 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 big, long course. And so over a decade now, I have been doing professional energetic space clearings remotely. So I have clients all over the world, and I have such amazing case studies to share of what kind of energies I've been removing from their homes, including spirits. And so I just love sharing and talking about space clearing and all things related to space clearing, which is why I will be creating this podcast. And this video series, I will be creating my podcast alongside with you. So you can see what I'm doing as I am creating it. And yeah, it shall be fun, right? It's all about following the joy, following, what really lights us up. And so if for you, you can see that there is some joy or some fun in creating your podcast, I really love doing it myself, and I hope you will enjoy it too. So this is why I'm doing this little course. So today, my dears, let's get right into business. Part one. What are we doing today? Today, obviously, I want you to choose a podcast topic. I want you to pick a topic that lights you up, that you are excited to talk about, because when you have a podcast, you have to talk about it a lot, right? So it has to be a topic where you can have lots of episodes where you talk about it, or if it's not just a solo podcast and you interview guests or people who come onto your show who are experts in this topic. So yes, pick definitely something that you will be enjoying to talk about for the duration of your podcast. So that's the main point here. You start with that, so you can always pause the video, or you just make notes of what it is you want to do. The next thing is identifying your target audience. So that is important because, as I said, my first podcast is all for female soulpreneurs, the healers, the coaches, So that's my target audience. They are females and they have their own businesses and they are heart-centered slash spiritual. They're interested in energy, vibration, and manifesting, all things spiritual. That's my niche. And of course, I know people who don't have a niche and they want to talk to everybody, but it's very difficult then to address certain people. And so see and play around with it. What comes up to mind? What are the people that you in the past really enjoyed talking to in your coaching or healing business or whatever business it is you're doing? Maybe you don't even have a business, but you want to talk about politics or the books you've been reading. But yes, think about who the listeners shall be that you really are excited to talk to as well. So once you have that down, of course, you will have to come up with a name for your podcast and, pick a name that sparks joy in you, that you know you will love referring to again and again and again, that looks good on the podcast cover eventually. So I do recommend that it's not too long. Even my name, Female Soulpreneurs Growing Their Business, is super long. So for my second podcast, I already decided it's going to be snappy and short. And I was talking to my mom yesterday. We were brainstorming a bit and we came up with Happy Home, a space clearing podcast. So Happy Home is short and snappy. Everybody knows more or less what it will be about creating good energy, good vibrations in your home. So Happy Home. And I'm going to link it below in the description because by the time you might be watching this video, my podcast will already be launched and already live. And you can click on the link if you're interested in following along on my space clearing podcasting journey. You can subscribe on the link in the description. But yes, the name will be very important. And then you can plan your podcast format, meaning how much time do you have basically, right? Do you want to have episodes twice per week? That's a lot, of course, but some people do it. Will it be once a week? Will it be bi-weekly? Right? So get an idea in your mind of how many times per week or every 2 weeks you want to do it and the time you want to dedicate to it. And in terms of format also, will it just be solo episodes or do you already have in mind that there might be some guests? Of course, you don't have to fix anything right now because sometimes we are spontaneous and we can go as we flow with it, right? But yes, just so you have an idea, you can outline all of these things. And if you're somebody who likes to plan ahead, you can already think about the next 3 months, for example. If you are doing it weekly, it will be 12 episodes. And you create an outline for those 12 episodes, what it is you're going to talk about. So for me, I'm not much of a planner. I go with the flow. But even for the space clearing podcast that I'm going to create alongside you, already thought about, the first episode will be how did I even end up studying space clearing? Like how did I got into removing spirits from people's homes? It's a very funny story that I love sharing. So that will be my first episode. And other episodes will be about, what is even space clearing? What does it entail? How do somebody know they need space clearing? All the elements of space clearing. So I have a whole list of things I want to talk about. And then, of course, I will dive into case studies and spirit removal stories with my mom. And it will be just so much fun. But as I said, there are planners who really need a solid plan before they launch their podcast and other people who like to go with the flow and who are spontaneous. There is no right or wrong here. The important part really is the first 4 parts. So the name, who you're talking to, the topic you're going to be talking about, because that will be important once we go into the platform in the next video, where you will be inputting all of this information. Okay, so take a day or a few days to brainstorm, to really get down to business what your podcast will be about. All right, this video will be ending here. The next part will be, as I said, going into the platform itself. So I'll see you on the next video. Oh, and if you already created a name and have ideas, please do comment below. Let me know how it's going, what it is that you're brainstorming about. Feel free to engage in conversations below in the comments.